And moving into game 2, we saw Griquas take on the Cheetahs. Garrin, what was your take on that game?
Right, that was a big Bloemfontein, Kimberley, Neighbourly battle. A crazy game, for the second time now in 4 games that the Griquas have had a red card early in the match. This one I think was in the 33rd minute, so for 47 minutes of the game they played with 14 men, which obviously is not ideal at this level. But credit to them that they came back into the game. I thought they'd roll over a little bit, but they stuck to their guns and actually took the lead at one stage in the second half. But then they fell a little bit short against the Cheetahs in the end, losing. So discipline issues clearly in Kimberley. The coach will have to have a word with a couple of players there. In this scenario, it was 2 yellow cards. I'm not sure if both of them warranted yellow cards and the red, but that's in the record books already. So Griquas struggling this year. I really thought they'd be better overall. After 4 games, they're right near the bottom of the lug. So they're pretty much out of the reckoning for a playoff spot. They're going to just now do some damage to those teams that are in contention for a playoff spot. Cheetahs, for their part, still a little bit hot and cold. They look fantastic at times. I think they went a little bit to sleep when they realised they were up against 14 men, thought they'd coast to victory. Certainly wasn't the case. Griquas scored, I think, the try of the season through their hooker, Martin Besaidon, length of the field try. Fantastic effort there. That will be their highlight, something they can hopefully build on in the coming weeks. So Cheetahs again, they picked up the victory, but not looking fantastic. I'm still not so sure either of these teams will make the playoffs.
Rob, are you convinced by either of these teams?
I think the Cheetahs are still thereabouts. They're very much a sort of a fringe team, I think, this year. And I looked at their squad on paper at the start of the Currie Cup and thought, with them having shed so many players from what was already a pretty poor Super Rugby season, that they were going to be vulnerable. And that vulnerability has kind of stayed. They've got a few sort of Bloemfontein club players who've sort of had to come into the Currie Cup mix. Having said that, Bloemfontein is quite a sort of a talent factory. They keep on producing players somehow, despite the odds against them. And who knows, maybe they will make it. I think they're still lurking. They're perhaps only 1 point behind the top 4 berths at the moment. So they picked up the full house against Griquas. Griquas, for their part, a little bit ominous that they lost the way they did. They will take some comfort from the fact that they struck for a couple of nice long-range sort of tries, which will make them think maybe that there's always the possibility of an upset somewhere along the line. Their next game is away to the Sharks, which on paper you'd think, well, the Sharks as the defending champions should really thump them.
Right.
But Griquas will be thinking, well, if we really produce a sublime performance against a pretty sort of very blunt-looking Sharks team, they'll have a chance, but only an outside one.